ELC International Schools, Bangkok. ELC International Schools has led early childhood education in Thailand for over 40 years, with 6 boutique campuses under the Purple Elephant and the city school in Thonglor and Nonthaburi, next to ISB. It is recognized as a top feeder school to international schools like Patana, NIST, and ISB. ELC blends the Reggio Emilia philosophy with a strong academic foundation, personalizing learning to each child's strengths and interests. Through hands-on, inquiry-driven projects, children develop critical thinking, creativity, and collaboration in a dynamic, supportive environment. An exciting new development is the recent introduction of the Dove Center, an extension of the City School, Thailand's first-of-its-kind initiative supporting children with higher learning needs. With adaptive tools, sensory-friendly spaces, and tailored programs, it provides much-needed SEN support in Bangkok. Today, I'm going to welcome Dr. Leah Mai, and she's the head of schools and the chair of educational board and the board of directors to talk more about their learning ethos and how the Dove Center delivers on the group's promise of personalized learning for each child with parents and partners. And so, with that kind of introduction, I don't know how we could possibly do better than that. Now, here's my thing. Is it Leah or Lee?
It's Leah.
Leah! Oh,
but that's Lord. Okay. I'm very flexible. We like to be agile and flexible at ELC, and so anything will do.
No, Dr. Leah, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. The only reason I always kind of chuckle about individuals' names is because I have one of those names as well. No one ever gets it right. So anyway, I'm going to start with the question I love to start with. I've started with all of our presenters yesterday, and I had our first presenter end with, which is when you get up in the morning and you're about to make the commute to ELC, whichever campus you're on, what gets you excited? What's the thing that you're like, yeah, this is the reason I'm going?
Look, I think Kurt Vonnegut said that education is the most important job in all of democracy. And that gets me up in the morning. There's absolutely a desire to do best by the children at our school and for childhood in general. So one of our big tenets is that children are powerful and capable citizens of society from the very first day of life. That comes to us from Reggio Emilia. And we try and live that every day. And that's what gets me up in the morning.
I love it. So let's start maybe not backwards or forwards, but just like we put the Dove Center, front and center. Tell us about that. Tell us why it's important, why it's special, and what it offers to families with children with higher learning needs.
Absolutely. So for us, we really want to interact with the child and meet their best interests. And that looks different for different children. And what we noticed within our own community, but also in conversations with our partners, like the US government, was that there were children who were not thriving in a mainstream environment and actually needed a more integrated approach that combined therapeutic services with academics and life skills. And so these children, some of them came from our city school already and from our Purple Elephants. And they were children who were being mainstreamed, often with a one-on-one shadow support or inclusive educator, as we call them. And they were not thriving. And we felt we could do better by them. And the Dove Center is our approach to do better by them. So we do believe that children are powerful and capable and full of potential, but that is activated by the environment and the educators that are with them and the whole system within which they can thrive. So the Dove Center is for children with those higher support needs who are not able to access an academic curriculum that is age or stage based.
Okay. And just for, someone who is not in Bangkok right now or doesn't know, is the Dove Center a physical place? Is it a process? Is it its own standalone thing, or what is it?
That's a great question. So it is part of the city school, which is our mainstream K to year 6 campus. Physically, it started at the city school, but now it has its own purpose-built and designed campus about 900 meters away. So it's an extension, it's a spectrum. So children are somewhere along that spectrum, and depending where they are along that spectrum, that's where one campus might serve them better than the other. So it is a physical space. It's also an approach, and it's a two-way street. If we felt like a child, had maybe been misplaced at the Dove Center, we would bring them back into the city school. and vice versa. So actually for parents, they have the option of that full spectrum between Dove Center and City School based on what their child needs.
And does that spectrum bleed over into high achiever as well, is in terms of gifted, or is it more of I'm just going to stop right there. I won't put words in your mouth.
So we do have children with high potential academically, and they are with us at the City School as well. So our approach is very flexible and allows us to tailor the program to each individual child. We have a ratio of 1:4, so 1 child, 4 educators at the City School. That is unparalleled in Bangkok. And at the Dove Center, that is 1:2 or 1:3. So that enables us to really tailor make a program for the children. So if we do have these very high potential children, then we're able to design a program for them, but they're with us at the City School.
ELC has been around for a while. How have you seen, or what has, how has the evolution of early years changed over, sort of that, I don't want to say the last 10 years, maybe over the last 5 years. And what does it look like for parents who are saying, look, I want to make sure my kid is prepared for the future, especially as they're leaping into the, the secondary school and then and beyond. What does that look like to you?
So I think one of the huge changes post-COVID really is rethinking education for the future in terms of being very intentional about how we design an education that is future-wise or future-worthy. David Perkins from the Harvard Graduate School of Education has a wonderful book that really says education needs to serve the future of our children. For us, that looks a lot like the transferable skills that come out of the Ontario curriculum, because we do teach the Reggio Emilia approach, but it's not a curriculum. So our curriculum is actually from Ontario. Those transferable skills are skills they're going to be able to take with them into any high school, any middle school, any country, any community, or any job. They are collaboration, communication, critical thinking, creativity, and compassion. This is the toolkit that we are equipping our children with. There is a lot of knowledge equity through technology advances right now. So you can access content within a second or two. Google will tell you, what the flag of Mexico looks like.
Could I pause you for just a second? You just used a term that I got to be honest, I have not heard. What is knowledge equity or education equity?
So for me, knowledge equity is about the ability to access content, and the internet allows us to do that. I don't have to go to a library anymore to find out information from an Encyclopedia Britannica. So if I'm a remote learner, for example, I might not have access to a library. Or even when I went to school, right? You had to and university, you had to go to the library. You had to hope that book was on the shelf. If it was taken out, you had to wait 2 weeks to get it. That doesn't happen anymore. Google will tell us information within a few seconds. So what do we do with that information is really what's most critical now. How do we apply our critical thinking skills, our creativity to improve the world by using that very readily available information, which is more equitable now, into something that's actually going to create positive futures?
I really like that a lot. That makes a lot of sense to me. I had my next question and now it is completely lost because I got stuck on the equity thing. I really love the idea of knowledge as an asset that we all are, we're all able to access. Is there ever, because ELC has been around for a while, I know that one of the conversations I've had with parents around town and whatnot is, the wish and the desire to go beyond that 6, is there any plans for that? Is there any strategy there, or nope, we like being we found our sweet spot and this is where we're staying?
Look, I think there is something very important about early childhood, and that's 0 to 12 age range. We know more and more from research that the experiences that happen in childhood do stay with us for the rest of our lives. So right now we are focused on being the best possible preschool and preparatory school that we can be. Having said that, with the Dove Center, for example, it is not a stage and age-based approach. So we have more flexibility there to continue the education without having to start a classic middle school or high school. Will there never be a high school? I can't tell you that. For right now, though, we are focusing on what we do best, which is 0 to 12 education.
I mean, I had to ask. We have a question from our community here from Jennifer Norman Wilmer. She says, for ELC, could you let me know if my child is at one of your smaller early year schools? Do they automatically get a place in the larger school, or do you have to reapply or go through testing?
No, you do automatically get a place. So our Purple Elephant parents and our Dove Center families do get a secured place at the city school.
All right, that's an easy answer. It talks about, one of the big questions that so many people have is, traffic and getting to the school and from the school, especially since you have, even though it's 900 meters away, there's still different places in Purple Elephant versus ELC, et cetera. Talk to us about how you handle that.
Yes, that's an interesting question for the whole of Bangkok, right?
Absolutely.
And for our city schools campus, we are on Thonglor, Soi 13. One of my favorite things is that we are 50 meters from Sumitavet Hospital. So if there's ever should be any sort of injury, we have immediate access to emergency care. We also have our nurse on campus, of course, to triage. But that, of course, comes with its own complications. If you want a downtown location, traffic is a factor. We are one of the few downtown locations that still is able to maintain a very green campus environment. So there's also that best of both worlds where you have access to Thonglor, but you're still in a very green and natural environment, which for the children is very therapeutic. We do have Thonglor BTS at the top of Soi 53, and we do really encourage our families to make use of that because you can just walk straight down Soi 53 and enter via our back gate. We do have parking for families at Easy Parking on Thonglor 13 and at Soi Torsak. And we do have a lot of guards on duty that will channel cars through our driveway. So you can just drop and kiss and ride, as they say in Australia. Mm-hmm. So we try and facilitate that as much as possible.
Speaking of, the parents who either are in touch with the campus or want to come, talk to me about how a parent can be involved at ELC. What are the opportunities? Is it throughout the day? Is it, after school activities? What do we do for the involved parent?
Absolutely. We would love parents to be involved. In fact, one of our community promises is personalized learning with parents as partners. So we want to partner with you to make the best choices for your child. And that can look different for different families. For example, we have our gardens are open to families after school every day from 3 to 4 p.m. because we know many children don't have a large garden and playground to access at home. And if they live in condominiums, we want them to experience that free playtime. So any family who wants to come every day from 3 to 4 p.m. and makes use of our campus can. We have mystery readers happening at the moment. We have 5 meetings a year for parents between our hopes and wishes meetings and our parent-teacher conferences if you want to talk about the academics for your child. And we have also apps like Parent App, which is similar to Seesaw for parents who are unable to access the campus physically. And really, for us, it's you tell us how much contact and involvement you want, and we will make it happen.
I love that. Let me, this is part tongue in cheek, but a reality. I mean, everyone knows here, I've got 3 kids. They're a little past the early years point, or, at this stage, but one of the things that every parent talks about is all of the communication from the school, right? And not only managing that, but making sure that you're staying involved and you don't miss something, but at the same time, how do you so talk to me about your app, talk to me, how do you manage that communication to make it reasonable for a parent?
Yeah, so I think every channel has its own purpose. So for example, our Parent Tab is photographs of what's happening in the classroom with the children. So a parent can have that on their phone, they can look at what's happened during the day, and that can really initiate rich conversations with their child at home. Because it's like if you say to your child, what did you do today? Half of them will say nothing. Half of them will say, my favorite time was snack. And then you're like, oh, goodness. So we hope that those photographs that you're receiving of Parent App really are able for you to share with your child and say, what is happening here? Tell me more, So that's one vehicle of communication. My strategy as head of school is if I write an email, it's about one topic only. So you're not having to dig through multiple paragraphs to find out what's pertinent to you. I'm just being joined here by a couple of our friends who, as you can see, have a very accessible office right in the middle of the playground. And our children are very powerful and capable and feel very comfortable.
That is awesome. We have never had a guest run in like that. I love it. That is fantastic. Wonderful.
So I want to be very accessible to children, to families, to teachers. My office is literally a glass box in the middle of the campus. So come visit anytime if you have a chance. We'd love to host you. So really targeting the communication. One email, one message, one action. So you're not having to dig through and trying to figure out what the school wants from you. Awesome. And then really limiting the amount of emails that get sent all of the time. Because I know this is a global problem. I had my cousin-in-law write to me just last weekend saying, I have 15 emails from the school because I have 3 children. I don't even know how to keep up with them. We try and minimize that as much as possible.
Oh, wow. There's the next killer app for your, whoever's the advanced learner at ELC. How do I make sure if you have more than one child, they only get one email about it? That's a really good one.
Yes.
Talk to me about activities and opportunities outside the normal school day at ELC. Is there? I'm assuming it's as robust as other schools, but is there a special focus? Are there particular activities that you think are particularly interesting at ELC?
So can you hear the children in the background? Federico's just going to usher them out just for the sake of focus.
No worries.
So we do have I'm talking right now. Can I talk to you later? Okay. So we do have a full program of after-school activities. So that is at the parents and the child's choice. And that really is to follow your passion. So it could be languages, it could be chess, it could be Lego, robotics. It could be sports as well, yoga, soccer, dance, Thai language as well, of course, for our parents who would like additional Thai instruction, Mandarin, French. So we cover the full spectrum of after-school activities. For our year 4 to 6 children, we also have a program called Visual and Performing Arts. They stay back 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it's a series of performing arts and visual arts programming. And then that leads into our year 3 to 6 drama performance and other events and performances for the children. We also have a summer school we call a Festival of the Arts, so the children are free to join that for 2 to 4 weeks a year as well. So we also want to be very responsive to the community. So if you have a particular need or interest or talent that you want to share with us, we're very flexible into adding additional after-school activities.
Final question for you. Because we have you as the head of school, you're the chair of the Educational Board of Governors and the chair of Board of Directors. As you look forward, let's just say 2 years, maybe 3 years, like the speed of change is only accelerating. The velocity of change is incredible. What are you seeing as how the school will continue to evolve, or things that you're most excited about that are being, things that parents don't see today, but they're going to see 12 months or 24 months from now?
Yeah. We are very aware that the time the children have with us is irreplaceable. You get one childhood. So for me, always at the center of everything is the highest quality education that we can provide for our children. That will always be the guiding light for us. Everything else is additional to that. So, and that looks different in different ways. Do we have the best campus available to them that allows them to grow and thrive and feel safe and seen and heard and valued? Do we have the best educators, highly qualified, highly accessible to children and teachers and parents? I was with friends in Hong Kong during the midterm break, and one of the teachers, I overheard him say, I have 30 children in my class and I just didn't get to that child today. That will never happen here. We have 12 to 15 children in the class maximum because we want to get to every child every day.
And as we've seen here, they're totally, you are completely accessible at all times. Fantastic.
Exactly. So for me, that is the true measure of education, is the quality experience of the experience that you're providing to every child in your school every day. Beyond that, some schools choose to build a swimming pool. Some choose to build a soccer field. Those are all very valid choices. But at the heart of it all must be the experience of the child, because this is their only chance to be a child.
I love it. Dr. Leah, thank you so much for taking time out of what is clearly not only a busy day, but you're surrounded by all those young learners. So I'll let you get back to them, and we will now show your video for your campus. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Much appreciated.